What's up, my friends? Welcome to day one of the MYT Men's Yoga Transformation and Men's Yoga Tribe Reset and Release Challenge, where we're going to be combining yin postures where we hold those shapes for longer periods of time to create long-term changes in the length of our tissues with some modern day PNF technique, contract and relax stretching, so we can get a faster release by pairing the knowledge of how our breath affects our physiology with the stretches. Today we're going to start with looking at your feet and ankles, which are the foundation of all of your movement, as well as looking at the chest and shoulders, which is where most people are tight. You're going to need a rolled up towel or mat, because we're just going to get the most painful things out of the way first. And once you've got that, we are good to go. For this first posture, we are going to take that rolled up mat or towel and we're going to wedge it back from a standing position back behind your knees. You are then going to sit onto that mat, squeezing it between your knees, and then walk yourself down to a nice little kneeling position, pointing your toes straight back, and then sitting back into this little kneel. While we're here, your feet can slide so that your big toes can touch. Your knees will be slightly apart. That way you can see it there. And pressing down through the tops of your big toes and your pinky toes, gently squeezing your knees, or not your knees, your heels towards each other. And with your hands, reach back, untuck each side of your butt one side at a time so that tailbone is released back. And then do the same thing with your knees. Reach underneath, lift that knee up for a second. You'll feel your shins opening up a little bit more. Sit nice and tall through your torso. This is bringing lots of length to the top of your foot, your ankle, your shin, but then also opening up a lot of this stuck tissue behind your knees, even stretching out your quads. Bringing into this, our breath, what we're going to do is as you inhale, take a big in-breath, squeeze that mat like you're trying to crush it behind your knees. Hold gently for a moment here. And then as you exhale, relax that contraction, draw out your out-breath. Feel how you sink down into that mat a little bit more. Breathing in, squeezing the mat. Holding for a moment. Breathing out, relaxing, letting yourself sink into it a little bit more. Breathing in and squeezing. Holding and letting go of any unintended tension like your neck, your shoulders, anything else here. Exhaling, relaxing. Deepening into it. I know it's uncomfortable, stick with it. 2 more times. Big inhale, squeeze. Hold, still squeezing and relaxing your neck and shoulders. Breathing out. One more time. Big inhale, squeeze. Holding. Letting go. Rocking back into it. Now if you want to put this together, what we did in the reset challenge, which is holding for 3 to 5 minutes, you can stay in this posture and get even deeper into it, get a more impactful release. But if you're like, cool, I felt the change there, this is good enough for me, then we can releasing forward to hands and knees, taking that mat or towel out, setting it down, noticing the after effects here. And then I invite you to sit back into that kneeling position without the mat and just notice, how does that feel? Very likely it'll feel a little bit more open, a little bit more accessible than it did previously. And then we'll release to hands and knees here. Digging your toes under like you're going to do a little push-up. And like stretching into the bottoms of your feet, your big toes. And then from there, what I like to do is take, and I'll invite you to do, take a little bit of weight into your hands, floating your knees up off the mat, and sitting your weight back into your heels. You'll feel a little bit of a stretch underneath your feet, the bottoms of your feet, maybe even in your activation through your shins, maybe even a stretch through your calves here. And this might be enough for you. If you feel, hey, it can go a little bit deeper, then I invite you to walk your hands back on top of your thighs, taking what we call an ankle sit here. Toes are dug under, big toe stretch, especially into that big toe. Unbunched any bunched up skin in your knees. Same thing with your butt. And here what we're going to do is it's almost like we're lifting our feet, like we're trying to touch our shins with it. It's not going to look like much. It'll look like this. You can see that little bit of a shift in there. And as you inhale, we're going to create that contraction like we're trying to touch our shins with the tops of our feet. Holding for a moment. It's uncomfortable. And as you exhale, letting go of that contraction, you might even bring your hands back towards your heels to release some of that pressure. You can wiggle into it when you exhale. 4 more times, big in-breath, lifting through those feet like you could touch your shins. Holding. Letting go. If you find that the holding is too long, just exhale. Let it out. You don't have to hold as long as I do. Big inhale to activate. Holding, relaxing through your mouth, your neck, your shoulders. Exhale. Taking some wiggle, stretching into it. And 2 more times here. Big inhale, activate. Holding. Releasing. One more time. Big inhale, activate. Holding and relaxing unintended tension. And then letting it go. Maybe you decide to stay here for another couple minutes, but maybe you decide to release, bringing your hands down, pointing your toes straight back, and just pausing there. No wiggling, no trying to shake it out. Letting the after effects happen. Noticing what are the sensations that you feel. That could be really intense for a lot of people. If you want to relieve that by sitting back, sitting your butt back towards your heels, your toes pointing straight back, you can do that. And then we'll get into the upper body a little bit here. I'll invite you to make your way down to the mat, laying flat on your belly. Point your toes straight back. And just for a moment, use the strength of your upper body to pull your rib cage up away from your hips and zipping your front ribs in. Sending your right arm out to the right hand side, grounding through your right palm. And try and creep through your fingertips. Get a little bit of length through your shoulder that way. Ground the ball of your right palm. Imagine you could lift just your right elbow towards the sky. You're going to get depth in your shoulder joint. As you inhale, start rolling onto your right hand side. As you exhale, you can even sweep your left leg backwards across the top of your right. You might even plant the sole of your left foot, letting that knee bend. And you will not come as deep into this as I am if you have never done this before. You can be right here. This might be enough for you. Into this little open wing shape here. And while we're here, as you inhale, gently press down through your right arm. Hold for a moment. Really try to puff up the left side of your rib cage. And as you exhale, relax everything. Even wiggling into it a little bit. Again, inhaling, pressing down. Holding. Releasing. Inhaling to activate, press down into your right arm, gently. Holding, making sure there's no pain in the right shoulder here. Exhaling, relaxing. 2 more times, big inhale, press down. Hold. Release. One more time. Big inhale. Press down. Hold. Relaxing any unintended tension in your mouth, your neck, your shoulders. Letting go. If you want to stay here for a couple minutes, you can, but if not, I invite you to inhale to begin unwinding back to center. And exhale to pause here. Leave the right arm, the blood flow come back in. And then when you're ready, slide that right hand back underneath your right shoulder, a little push-up position. We'll take the same thing on the opposite side here. Sending your left arm out to the left-hand side to a T. Creeping your fingertips out away from you so you get length through the shoulder, and then grounding the ball of your left palm. Gently lifting that left arm like you could lift just your elbow towards the sky. And then as you inhale, starting to roll onto your left-hand side, big chest stretch. As you exhale, you can even sweep that right leg backwards behind you. It's okay if you're not super deep into this. If you're like 1 inch into it, that's perfect. Making sure there's no pain inside of the shoulder, just that discomfort of the stretch. Big inhale, press down with your left arm. Holding for a moment, pulling that breath into the right side of your rib cage. Exhaling, wiggling into it. Big in breath, pressing down, holding, relaxing unintentional tension, letting go. Inhaling to activate, pressing down, holding, releasing. And 2 more times. Big inhale, press down. Hold. Release. One more time. If you want to stay here for a little while, you can. If you don't, we'll inhale to unwind back to center, slowly, gently. We'll pause there on the out breath. Let that blood flow come back into your left arm. And then slide that left arm in underneath your left shoulder, like we're in a little push-up position. And then making your way back to a nice little kneeling position. That is it for day 1. A little bit of work on ankles and feet, probably the most uncomfortable thing that we'll do this whole challenge. A little bit of work for the upper body and the chest, which is really impactful if you spend any amount of time in front of a computer or holding any device. So my challenge for you is to take these postures, take what felt good or what felt really challenging, and work on them again throughout the day. Each 5 release breaths takes about 2 minutes, so it's pretty fast and it's pretty impactful for that short duration of time that we're spending in it. Drop in the comments, let me know how this felt for you, and if you have any questions on anything, because I want to make sure that we adjust it to make it work for you. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.